Hello and welcome back to the Jerusalem Post. I'm your host, Tamar Uriel-Beeri, and I'm joined today by Joel Bar-El. Joel is the executive chairman at Trax Retail, which enables brands and retailers to harness the power of digital technologies to produce the best shopping experiences imaginable. He holds a BA in physics from Tel Aviv University and an executive MBA from Harvard University. Joel, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So for those who don't know, tell us shortly what Trax Retail really is.
Trax is a technology company that harnesses the technology of computer vision, and we provide it to global fast-moving goods manufacturers like Coca-Cola or Procter & Gamble as an example. And we help them to understand and see what is happening on the retail shelf in the physical store. We just do it in a very large scale, and Trax today digitizes 3.5 million stores in 83 countries all around the globe, 3.5 million stores on a monthly basis.
Wow, that's a lot. So you focused a lot on your career specifically on customer-centric business and customer experience-focused business management. So, I mean, it makes sense through Trax Retail, but what drew you to the subject in the first place?
In my career, I was starting to work for an MNC, like a global company that was in the US. And from the business side, I really moved to become an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, you're trying to make an impact and you're trying to create technologies that affect people's lives. So I think that is the main driver for me in every startup that I've established and every technology that I have envisioned is really to look on how we can make the world a better place. This sounds like a beauty pageant slogan, right? At the end there when they ask the question.
The little wave.
Exactly. But that is the reality. The reality is you're trying to make something good, which eventually also helps you to harness investors and harness employees into a greater good cause. But it also helps you in terms of creating something that has meaning.
And that meaning comes from, among other things, bringing comfort and joy to customers.
Exactly. It's the physical store where people are doing their shopping. This experience has not changed for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. People will go into the village square, wherever, and they would take groceries and they would pay for them and go home. And this is pretty much what is happening today. Maybe today we have online delivery or we have, I don't know, better assortment, but the interaction itself hasn't changed. And in that sense, bringing technology, bringing AI, the ability to transform the shopping experience at the point of sale, this is a great cause. And I think it's time that that industry will also evolve into the new era of data.
So I'm curious, what advice would you have for a company looking to make their product more approachable and perhaps feel, less stuck behind a wall?
So I think that the best advice I can have is first to have a great vision. Sometimes people try to focus on the right here, right now, but many companies, including Trax, we started with a vision, and the vision was not reachable. When we started Trax, what we are doing today seemed to be like science fiction, but we had the belief and we have that vision. And then we started in baby steps, marching and walking towards that vision. So, and eventually we got there as technology progressed. So I think that having that great vision, to be able to articulate it in a very simple words, that I would say the best advice I can give.
As an Israeli founder, when also giving advice to others who are newer to the industries of business and customer support and customer management, I guess, how optimistic or maybe pessimistic are you about the Israeli startup industry in 2024?
I think that the industry is going through a big challenge due to the geopolitical situation in Israel, the war in Gaza, hopefully not a war in Lebanon. There is also a big debate within the Israeli society around the current government. All of these factors obviously brings a very big weight on the startup nation or the startup ecosystem in Israel. Generally around the globe, irrespective of what is happening here, interest rates are still very high, which means that a lot of investments have alternatives which are more, they are better in terms of, they're more lucrative versus the startup, I would say, sector. And in that sense, it's very difficult to raise funds. And with the geopolitical situation, it's even harder. So I think that I'm optimistic for the long run for the Israeli ecosystem startups. But for 2024, I believe I'm more pessimistic. And I think it's going to be a very tough year. We see signs of some funds are getting back into the market. It's a little bit easier to raise funds, but this is mainly for companies who are in the forefront of success. But for small startups, the ones that are just beginning, that have not yet proved themselves, that they are basically like the seeds, right, that will grow to be bigger companies in years to come. This kind of layer will suffer greatly in 2024, and I can recommend other entrepreneurs just to embrace, cut costs, and wait until that wave is over.
That's a scary notion, but unfortunately seems rather probable given the current geopolitical circumstances. But you know, you're so knowledgeable on the industry here, and in general. And you know, it brings to mind that there's a big difference between a physics degree and an executive MBA. So what made you jump from your bachelor's to your MBA?
When I did my first degree, I really wanted, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't into Panora, I'm not a programmer. And I wanted eventually I decided to study something that I'm interested in. And I always liked astrophysics since I was a small child. And I had this dream to become an astronaut. So I said, okay, I looked, back then there was no internet, but I was looking, asking what an astronaut needs, right? What does he need to learn? And they told me, I mean, I saw that they need to learn physics and astrophysics. So this is why I went to learn it, because I just enjoyed it. Eventually, I mostly learned in the university astrophysics like I like. But then I understood that I need to go to higher degrees in order to progress towards that mission. And I didn't want to spend more time in the academia. I didn't like it so much. So after the first degree, the bachelor degree, I just started to work in the industry. And that basically led me to a whole career path. And I never got to learn a proper MBA. I started to learn an MBA after my bachelor degree, but I stopped because I just progressed rapidly, relatively within their ranks at the high-tech ecosystem. And I didn't have time for such an endeavor. And only a few years ago, when actually I was on the other cycle after many years as a CEO of large tech companies, and then I became chairman and had more time on my lap, I decided to go and try to do the MBA. I wouldn't go to a full MBA, which is 2 years. I just go to executive MBA, which is a shorter program. It's 3 years, but it's 1 month every year at the Harvard University for senior executives. And that was a great experience. And for me, it was not so much to learn, but really to experience. And it indeed was a great experience.
How do you feel, going back though to the physics degree, how do you feel your MBA from Tel Aviv University contributed to the work you do now, or to your outlook, I guess?
I think that it taught me mainly, I mean, if you, I don't know how much you know physics, but there's always this jokes or a kind of rivalry between physics and mathematics. And physics teaching you a certain way of thinking, to think outside the box, and to think in non-orthodox way. When you are doing a mathematical calculation, if you don't show all the steps that led you to the answer, even if you have the right answer, you get 0 mark. In physics, it's the exact opposite. You can say nothing, and just my logic tells me the answer is 1. And if the answer is 1, you get the full mark. And you don't need to explain how you got there. So this is the type of thinking of really understanding certain phenomena and really see how systems are coexist and cooperate together. It's a very multidisciplinary way of thinking, while mathematics is more of a language. So I think that opened my mind to a lot of areas, and it really helped me in terms of a thinking person, how to think in a better articulated way.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your broad perspective, Joel. Joel Bar-El, everyone. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.